Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great start of the weekend so far, and welcome to this new video right here on Ethereum. We're going to do a full update after the big move we had yesterday. Highest volume of Ethereum since that huge move we had at the beginning of May. So that's quite significant, right? I mean, there's a huge amount of volume. Volume is strength, right? And the volume being this high, like I said, this is the highest volume since the beginning of May. When we marked the bottom and when we had that first big move, and then it's also, I think it's at the same levels as the generational bottom. I would almost call it at the beginning of April. So volume is incredibly high. We got a good move. We made new all-time highs here. We reached $4,900 almost. And in general, let's be honest, before we get into this analysis and before we talk about the technicals, which we will definitely get into, of course, in this video for next week and just in general what to expect. But Ethereum is just looking incredibly bullish, right? We spoke about this yesterday briefly, but yesterday, obviously, we still had to get that Jerome Powell speech that we had yesterday afternoon. The market reaction to that was incredibly bullish, not only for Ethereum, but also across the board. And a lot of altcoins actually had very, very high volume moves. So that was great. But before that, we also said that, you know, a lot of bad things would need to happen for Ethereum to turn bearish. Because not only was Ethereum still respecting the uptrend on the 12-hour time frame, which, by the way, barely any altcoins were doing, but ETH BTC, so the relative strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin, was also still very strong. And the fundamentals around Ethereum were also still very strong. I think yesterday we even though the price dropped down over the course of, what was it, Wednesday into Thursday, we still had ETF inflows. So I cannot say anything but that I'm bullish on Ethereum here. I don't see any reason, I don't see any major divergence to say that I'm not. I mean, obviously there is a divergence, right? I mean, if you take a look at the RSI right here, you can see that since the high we made the 14th of August, we've made higher highs with the price, but the RSI is making lower highs. So normally I'd say, well, that's a divergence, be careful. But what I always look at when we have a divergence like that is, right, well, what is the volume doing? And the volume is actually higher. Right, so there is still this conviction, and the volume is a better measure of strength, I would say, than the relative strength index. The relative strength index is just a math equation, and the volume is real people and real capital buying and selling. So I would like to see some confirmation, of course, for us to see a bullish continuation into 5,000 and higher. I would actually say 5,000 is not the relevant resistance level here. I would say it's a little bit higher towards 5,200. But for us to actually get a continuation into that level, which I have to say that is most likely right now, right? So I do think a continuation into 5,000 and higher is most likely. But to get confirmation and to actually get some more conviction that that's going to happen, I'd say the main level that needs to hold and the main level that needs to send off a strong reaction would be that level between 4,500 and 4,400. All right, so 4,500, bit of a psychological level, but then mainly 4,400, we have the 7-day rolling VWAP. That's the middle of the fair value gap right here that we left with that move that we made yesterday. And then we also have a single print a little bit lower, right? So we also had a single print right here at 4,675. Got a bit of a weak reaction there. Outside of that, the fundamentals have also declined or decreased a little bit, or at least the strength of the fundamentals since yesterday evening. So that's the main level to watch. I would say, because of those fundamentals, that it's quite likely that we're going to retest that, right? So retest 4,500, 4,400, get a good reaction there, right? So really a spike, or at least some high volume bouncing from there. And I think we can easily see a continuation up to 5,250. Get a weak reaction there, and we might have to consolidate for a bit longer here before we get that continuation. But long term, or at least medium term, I expect that continuation either way. So those are my thoughts on Ethereum. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully it's valuable. But for now, have a great Saturday. Take care and bye.